Hello everyone, I'm Todo and welcome to the Vampire Counts in Old World Almanac. Today I'll be comparing them with their 8th edition equivalent. I got the book right here. Vampire Counts have always been like a very close army to me, like very dear to me. Always liked playing them, so I'm very interested in trying them out in Old World Almanac. Some things have changed. They're definitely not the same as in the past. So we'll go right into it. So I'll be reviewing the army special rules, the individual units, the magical items, and at the end I also got a 1500 points example list. We'll be going through the book as well, and I will start with the army special rules since the book also starts with the army special rules. So let's get right to it. So let's see. No, Vampiric Powers. There we go. So, first thing to note, something that's new with Old World Almanac is Cleaving Blow. So what's Cleaving Blow? It's basically an inferior version of Killing Blow. Instead of killing an infantry, heavy infantry, a regular cavalry, or a heavy cavalry outright, or wild beast, also wild beast, you will just normally do one wound on a natural 6 when wounding. So, for example, Graveguard will have Cleaving Blow instead of Killing Blow, like they had in the past. Dark Vitality is not new. We also had that in the past. However, in the past it was called Vampiric. Yeah. So what does it do? Basically, as soon as your general dies, normally you have to take leadership tests on all your units, except on units with Dark Vitality. In the past, that was called Vampiric. So, which kind of units will have that? Of course, vampires. Everything that's considered vampire. So, vampires, Vargeist, Varghulfs, Blood Knights as well. But something that's interesting to note is that also in this edition, necromancers have Dark Vitality, which they actually did not have in the past. In the past, in the 8th edition, they did not have the Vampiric rule, which basically sucks because if your general would die, that means that all your other casters, all your other necromancers would also die eventually, which is of course very bad. So that's definitely better than in the past. Then we got a new rule which is called Indomitable X. So what does that mean? A unit with this special rule reduces the number of wounds suffered due to the unstable special rule by the number shown in brackets. So if I got a character with Indomitable 2 and a unit with Indomitable 1, of course you will take the Indomitable 2 special rule. And if, for example, you would lose combat by 4, you got Indomitable 2 in your unit, like a cat with that special rule, you will lose 2 less wounds, which is also very good. A very good new rule. Then, of course, every unit in your army will have the Necromantic Undead special rule. So they're basically undead. They cannot march unless they have the fly special rule, or if they have Dark Vitality, then you're also allowed to march. So what are the universal special rules for these undead? You got Fear, Immune to Psychology, Unbreakable, and Unstable. And of course, a character with this special rule cannot join a unit without the special rule, and vice versa. But since everything has Necromantic Undead, that will be no problem. Something that's interesting is that Immune to Psychology in 8th edition said that if you would get charged, the only option you could choose was to hold. However, now in Old World, you cannot choose the option to flee. So if I'm correct, if I'm not, please correct me in the comments. You can also choose to stand and shoot. Of course, you will tell me, but Todo, we don't have anything that can shoot while being charged. You're right. However, If you would choose to take an allied contingency army of Tomb Kings, which vampire counts are allowed to do so, you could potentially take a unit of skeleton archers, or maybe a unit of skeleton horse archers with a cheap character somewhere, and then you would be able to stand and shoot. So that's definitely interesting to keep in mind. Alright, so those are the army special rules. Now we will start looking at the units. Of course, we will start with the vampires. So vampires, you still have two choices. You have your lore choice and your hero choice. A vampire count costs 160 points in Old World, which is quite a big difference with 8th edition. In 8th edition, a vampire lord, so the equivalent of the count, costs 220 points, so that's a 60-point difference. And if we look at the stats, I see that basically everything is the same except initiative, attacks, and leadership. So the vampire count in Old World has 1 initiative less, 1 attack less, and 2 leadership less than the 8th edition equivalent. Then the vampire troll, which is the normal vampire in 8th edition, is also cheaper in comparison with the 8th edition, because in 8th edition he was 105 points, in this edition 75 points. And what is the difference? There's also the difference in initiative and attack. Yes, 1 initiative less, 1 attack less, but has the same leadership actually. They both have leadership 7. So that's interesting. All the rest seems to be the same. Yeah, it's definitely the same. They come on a base size of 25 times 25 millimeters, so they're on a bigger base than before, since 25 is the smallest base you can take nowadays. A vampire may be a wizard. Yeah, that's just like in the past. Let's see, they can use dark magic, illusion, or necromancy. That's nice. Alright, sorry, I was just quickly looking over here. Alright, anyway, so you can take one of the following: additional hand weapon, great weapon, a lance if mounted, which is the same as in the past. You can choose between light armor or heavy armor. You can upgrade him to be a level 2 wizard. That is quite interesting. I'm checking now to see the book. If I'm correct, in 8th edition, yeah, a vampire count, so a lord, would start as a level 1 wizard, but there was no option of making him a level 2. So that's interesting. So you can go up to a level 2. You can also take magic items up to 100 points, vampiric powers up to 100 points, which is the same as before. And a vampire troll may be a level 1 wizard. Let's see in the book. Oh, okay, yeah. So in the book he already starts as a level 1 wizard. So that's the... now I understand why there's a 30 point difference, since 105 was the starting point of a normal vampire in 8th edition, but he would be already a level 1 wizard. So it became a bit more flexible. I think that's good. So what are their special rules? The vampire count has dark vitality, flammable, so that means if you get hit by a flaming attack, you cannot take your regeneration saves. Indomitable 2, that's good. Lore of Undeath, necromantic undeath, and regeneration. Regeneration of 5+ is definitely new. They did not have that in the past. However, it seems they don't have the special rule, the hunger, anymore, which would give him the option to regain a lost wound. If he dealt damage in combat, you could roll a d6. On a 6, you would regain a lost wound. That seems to be gone. Still, I think together with that regeneration of 5+, a vampire is definitely a good pick. Alright, so those are the vampires. Oh yes, a vampire troll, you can give him the banner of the count, and then he will get a different kind of rule, different type of hold your ground, which has friendly units within the battle stance bear command range, may reroll any failed leadership test. That's normal with every battle standard bear. However, you will also reduce the number of wounds lost due to unstable special rule by D3. It's not cumulative with the Indomitable special rule though, so if you already have a vampire count which has Indomitable 2, maybe it's not, yeah, I'm not sure if it's worth it. However, if you only have a vampire thrall with Indomitable 1, I would definitely go for the banner of the count. So death of a general is still the same. What does it mean? As soon as your general is slain, everybody will lose their regeneration special rule. And in addition, you have to start making leadership tests for every friendly unit with the necromantic undead special rule. And then they will lose a number of wounds equal to the amount by which it failed the test. Yeah. Alright. So that's normal, that's the same as in 8th edition. Then Necromancers. So the Master Necromancer is 130 points. In 8th edition it was 165 points. So also a points drop, which is good. However, in 8th edition they had oh yeah, they only had one attack. That's interesting. In Old World they have 2 attacks, so 1 extra attack, same leadership, and basically all the other stats are the same. He starts as a level 3 wizard. In 8th edition they also started as a level 3 wizard. He may be a level 4 wizard if you wish to do so for 30 points extra. In 8th edition, if you wanted to become a level 4 wizard, you had to pay 35 points. So also here a tiny points drop. You can give him magical items up to 100 points. And then you have the normal Necromancer, who starts as a level 1 wizard. That's also the same in 8th edition. In 8th edition he was 65 points, so 5 points more expensive than in Old World. So here also a tiny buff. You can give him magical items up to a total of 50 points, which is also the same in 8th edition. And the stats are also the same as in 8th edition. So they got Dark Vitality, as I said before. They did not have that in 8th edition, since necromancers are not vampires, so they didn't have the rule Vampiric, which meant that they would also have to test as soon as the general dies. That's not the case anymore, so that's definitely a buff. Definitely makes necromancers quite a lot better, I think. They got Invocation of Nehek, which is very interesting. It's new, because during the command phase, if they are not engaged in combat, that's very important, if they are not engaged in combat, if you make your leadership test, a single friendly unit that has the necromantic special rule and is within 12 inch of this category recovers a number of lost wounds. In the past, if you wanted to basically get your models back in 8th edition, you could do that with spells. So having this as like some kind of command ability, I do think is quite a buff. It's pretty decent. Also, regular infantry or heavy infantry recovers a number of wounds equal to the scatter level of wizardry plus D3, which is very nice, which means that you could potentially bring back 7 slain Graveguard models, which is a lot. Swarms, Light Cavalry or War Beasts will get the level of wizardry plus 1. Monsters Infantry, Heavy Cavalry, Monsters Cavalry, Light Chariot recover a number of wounds equal to the scatter's level of wizardry, which is also really good, I think. Because in the past, if you wanted to get models back, for example, let's say Blood Knights, since they were vampiric, if I'm not mistaken, could only get 1 or maximum of 2 back. Definitely not possible to get a 4 back if you would have a level 4 necromancer. If the unit's troop type is heavy chariot, monstrous creature, behemoth, or war machines, it recovers a single wound. Yeah, okay, that makes sense, I think. Definitely a very, very good rule. Yeah, as I said before, they didn't have that in 8th edition, so a very nice addition indeed. Alright, this Strigoi Ghoul Kings, 145 points. A huge point drop, In 8th edition, they were 260 points, so more than 100 points point drop. So, did some things change? Movement 6, weapon skill 6, ballistic skill 6, strength 5, toughness 5, 3 wound, initiative 7 in Old World, initiative 8 in 8th edition. 5 attacks is the same, and leadership 8 in Old World, leadership 9 in 8th edition. But still a huge point drop, which makes it more interesting to take Strigoi Ghoul Kings. Since in 8th edition, I think most players would take a Vampire Lord instead of a Strigoi Ghoul King, just because they were so pricey, and you were also not able to take any like equipment, so they were pretty easy to get killed. So he may be mounted. He doesn't have as many options as the Vampire Lord, so see on page 8, we will cover that in a bit. You can make him a level 2 wizard if you want to, up to a level 2. In 8th edition, he started as a level 1 for 260 points, but he did not have the option to become a level 2. So that's interesting that you now have that flexibility. He has Dark Vitality, normal flammable, hatred. He also hatred all enemies. Oh yes. So the difference here being that in 8th edition he had infinite hatred, so he would never lose his hatred. So that's a little different there. Indomitable 1, Lore of Undeath, Necromantic Undeath, poisoned attacks, and regeneration 5+, and the hunger. So he has the hunger. Alright. So normal vampires don't have the hunger. Let me just double check. Yeah, they don't have that. However, Strigoi Ghoul Kings do have the hunger, which means at the end of a combat phase, yes, that's what I said before, if the inflicted 1 or more unsaved wounds, roll d6. On a roll of 6, this scatter recovers a single lost wound. But, however, so great is this scatter's hunger that whenever they, and any unit they have joined, make a pursuit roll, they roll only a single d6. And that last bit is new, so this bit. The hunger, I personally, if I may be bold, this part is very nice. However, it's almost not worth it rolling only a single d6 when you making a pursuit roll, because getting a wound back, just 1 wound on a roll of 6, is quite unlikely, and I think this is going to be very annoying every time you want to pursuit. But that's just my personal opinion. Strigoi Ghoul King, definitely a huge point drop, makes it at least more interesting to take him. Kane Wraiths, let me just see. Okay, so 50 points in Old World, 60 points in 8th edition, so a 10 points drop. Weapon skill 3 in 8th edition, weapon skill 4 in Old World. Strength, toughness are the same. 3 wounds in Old World, just 2 wounds in 8th edition. However, 3 attacks in 8th edition, only 2 attacks in Old World. But they do have 1 pip of leadership more in Old World. So I think it's better in Old World than before. Yeah, definitely. They have a Spectral Scythe. They're ethereal, that's the same. Indomitable 1, Necromantic Undead, regeneration of 6+. Basically everything has a regeneration save nowadays, which is also very huge. I think it's very, very good. and they got terror. That's also the same. So the spectral scythe, no armor save is permitted against wounds caused by this weapon. It's the strength of the user, magical attacks, and multiple wounds d3. I think that was the same as in the past, 8th edition. Let me just check real quick with the book. Where are they? Velbets, no. Rules, no. Cane Reefs, data. No, it's actually not the same. In the past, in 8th edition, they had a rule called Chill Grasp, and you could substitute all of your attacks for one single Chill Grasp attack, and that would, if it would hit, it would automatically wound, and then no armor saves are allowed against the Chill Grasp attack. So the Spectral Sight is definitely way better, since you don't have to, well, just make one attack. And also in 8th edition, it wouldn't do multiple wounds d3. So definitely a buff here. Definitely interesting to maybe consider taking. Whites. So 85 points. Interesting to note is that you have two options of whites nowadays. In the past, you could only take the White King. 85 points in 8th edition, the same as in Old World. In 8th edition, they only had a weapon skill of 4, so here they got a weapon skill of 5. Also strength 5, in the past strength 4. Toughness 5 is the same, 3 wounds, initiative 4, 3 attacks, and leadership 9. So that's all the same, but definitely some buffs in characteristics, so it definitely became a better unit. Also, you have the option to take a White Lord for only 40 points. Which actually almost has the same stats as the White King of 8th edition. The only difference being that he has 1 wound less than in 8th edition, but he's only 40 points. Oh, and 1 leadership less. But for only 40 points, that's a really nice take for your army. You have a lot of different options. You can give him an additional hand weapon, a great weapon, a lance if he's mounted. May take a shield, and he may be mounted. For the White King, you can take 100 points, and for the White Lord, you may purchase items, magical items, up to 50 points. In the past, in 8th edition, you could only take magical items up to 50 points, so definitely a bit more flexibility here. They got Indomitable, they got Killing Blow, so the better version of Cleaving Blow. They also have a regeneration of 5+, which is nice. The White Lord, so the 40 points variant, has Killing Blow, a regeneration of 6+, and he has a White Banner. So it's the same as I said before with the Vampire Troll. You can reduce the number of wounds lost due to the unstable rule by d3, but it's not cumulative with Indomitable. But it's interesting to see that the White Lord just gets this for free. That's pretty good. That's definitely very nice, very nice. Alright, Tomb Banshees. 90 points, 95 points in 8th edition. Movement 6, weapon skill 3, strength 3, toughness 3, 2 wounds, initiative 3, 1 attack, and leadership 6 in Old World, leadership 5 in 8th edition, so a tiny buff. They are still ethereal, indomitable 1, magical attacks, necromantic undead, regeneration 6+, terror, and wailing dirge. That is the same as in the past. So wailing dirge, that is the scream attack. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I believe it's with Terrorgeist, perhaps. Wailing Dirge. Nope, Black Coach, Zombie Dragon, no, Terrorgeist. Wailing Dirge. That's bizarre. Oh, wait. Wait. I know where it is. It's Yeah, there it is. Okay, so during the shooting phase, unless it marched, you can make a waiting dirge attack. A waiting dirge may target any enemy unit that's within 1/8 inch of this model, and that this model can draw a line of sight to. Target must take a leadership test with a -2 modifier to its leadership characteristics. If this test is failed, the target suffers a number of wounds equal to the amount by which it failed the test, with no armor save or regeneration saves permitted. War saves can be attempted as normal. I think it's a little bit better than in 8th edition, because in 8th edition, if I'm not mistaken, you could still take regeneration saves. Let's see. So in the past, it was called a ghostly howl. So you would roll 2d6 plus 2, and for every point which the result exceeds the target unit's leadership, the target suffers 1 wound with no armor saves allowed. Yeah, so definitely became a little bit better, since you're also not allowed to take any regeneration saves in addition. So very nice here, very nice indeed. All right, so I think those were all the characters. Yeah, so the mounts. Which mounts can we take? A vampire count can take a Nightmare for 60 points, Coven Throne, Abyssal Terror, and Zombie Dragon. That's the same as in the past. A Master Necromancer has a couple more options than in the past. I don't think they were even allowed to take anything in the past. Oh wait, they were. So in the past you could put a Master Necromancer on a Barded Nightmare, a Hell's Deed, a Corpse Card, or Abyssal Terror. However, no Zombie Dragon. So this is a new addition, and they removed the fact that you could put him on a Corpse Card. Alright, well, so be it. I think it's... Would you put him on a Zombie Dragon? I'm not sure, but it's interesting that you have that option. Strigoi Ghoul King is only allowed to be mounted on a Terrorgeist. That's the same as in 8th edition. A White King or White Lord may be mounted on a skeletal steed. That's also the same as in the past. Yes, that's the same. Alright. So here are the skeletal steeds. 7, movement 7. They were a little bit faster in the past. In 8th edition they had movement 8. So that's interesting. Seems that the rest is the same. Nightmare has movement 7 in Old World, and 8th edition also movement 8. And also their base size became a little bit bigger. Weapon skill 3, strength 4, initiative 2, and 1 attack. Yeah, that's all the same. We got Iron Shot Hooves and Barding. Got counter charge, that's very nice. I will be covering that in a bit. First charge, that's also very nice. Necromantic Undead and Swift Stride. Some very, very good rules, which I will cover in a bit. Alright, the Graveguard. So, 11 points. Interesting to note is that Graveguard, you can take them as a core option. Which was not the case in the past. I'm trying to find where it says so. I'm very sure you can take 1 unit of Graveguard as a core option if you take a vampire model. Maybe you will see that rule in a bit. That was not the case in 8th edition. You could only take them as a special unit. So Graveguard, 11 points per model. Also in 8th edition, 11 points per model. Movement 4, weapon skill 3, strength 4, toughness 4, 1 wound, initiative 3, 1 attack, and leadership 7 in Old World, leadership 6 in 8th edition. So a tiny bit more on leadership, which is definitely nice. They may replace their shields with great weapons for 1 point per model. That's also the same as in 8th edition. They have heavy armor and shields. That's also the same as in 8th edition. You can take full command for 80 points. They can purchase a magic standard up to 50 points, which is also the same as in 8th edition. And you can, for 2 points per model, you can make them drilled. Drilled, if I'm not mistaken, means that you can freely redress the ranks which could be very interesting. However, since you cannot march with them, I cannot imagine a situation in which you would put them in march formation. However, maybe if someone has an idea, please let me know in the comments below. You can give them, for 1 point per model, the implacable defense special. Definitely very nice. Which basically means that if you lose combat, you may choose not to give ground, which is very nice. So you can just keep your ground, stay where you are. That's a very good thing to take. However, it's important to know that if the winning side significantly outnumbers the losing side, so if your opponent has double the unit strength, then you will still have to give ground as normal. So that's important to keep in mind. Still, for only 1 point per model, I think it's a good rule to take, a good upgrade to take. So skeleton warriors, the basic skeletons, 5 points per model, the same as in 8th edition. The stats are basically the same, except that in 8th edition they only had a leadership of 3, and here they got a leadership of 5 in Old World, so better for sure. So they have hand weapons, light armor and shields, which is also the same as in 8th edition. For 5 points, 15 points in total, you can take full command. If you want to take full command in 8th edition, it would cost you 30 points. So this is also, a lot cheaper, 50% cheaper. You may take a magic standard worth up to 50 points. In the past, you could only take a magic standard worth up to 25 points. So a bit more flexible here. They all have regeneration 6+ until the general dies. So also a very nice addition. Zombies are 3 points per model, the same as in 8th edition, 3 points per model. They got 1 whole weapon skill more. That's very, very nice. Since in 8th edition they only had weapon skill 1. So this could make quite the difference. Quite the difference indeed. The rest is basically the same. Leadership 2, so same as in 8th edition, leadership 2. You can go to a maximum of 40 models. In 8th edition there was no maximum, you just had to take a minimum of 20 models. For 5 points you got a standard bearer, and for 5 points you got a musician, which is the same as in 8th edition. They have one extra rule called the newly dead, which we will quickly check right now. Newly dead. Newly dead. Where is it? There it is. When resurrecting the fallen, a unit with this special rule can be taken beyond its starting size. Yeah, so that's the same as in 8th edition. That's nice if you want to go beyond the maximum you currently have. So that's zombies. Crypt ghouls are now 9 points apiece. In 8th edition, 10 points per model. So a tiny point drop here. Weapon skill 3. Oh, important to note, they have 1 movement more. Movement 5 instead of movement 4. So a little bit faster than before. Seems that the rest is the same. Yes, still 2 attacks per piece, and also leadership 5. You have to take them in units of 10+. You can take 1 champion for 6 points per unit. Move through cover. They didn't have that in the past. Necromantic undead, they are open order. Poison attacks regeneration 6+. They got reserve move, which is very nice, which means that they can make 1 extra move action, if I'm not mistaken, at the end of the shooting phase, which makes them a little bit more movable. And they are skirmishers. That's also new. It's very nice, actually. Yeah, definitely nice. I do like taking crypt ghouls myself, so seeing them being buffed really, it's really nice. Definitely. Crypt horrors. Yeah, the crypt ghouls on steroids, or well, the crypt ghouls on vampire blood. 46 points. In the past, in 8th edition, they were 38 points, so a little bit more expensive. Movement 6, weapon skill 3, strength 4, toughness 5, 3 wounds, 2 initiative, 3 attacks, and 5 leadership. That's the same as in 8th edition. They are Indomitable 1, move to cover, Necromantic Undead, regeneration 6+, stomp attacks 1. They got Filth and Crusted Claws, so they will use the strength of the user, so normally strength 4, AP -1, and poisoned attacks. Crypt Horrors in 8th edition were very, very good and almost always taken. So I understand why they are nerfed a bit. In 8th edition they had regeneration 5+, so yeah, they're definitely nerfed a little bit because they were always taken over Vargeist, I believe. So I think, well, Games Workshop is probably trying to make people consider taking Vargeist instead of Crypt Horrors. Bat Swarms are 39 points, and in 8th edition they were 35 points. They got Fly of 7. In the past they had Hover, so they could always only go 10 inches because they were not allowed to march with the Hover rule. Web skill 3, strength 2, toughness 2, 5 wounds, initiative 4, 5 attacks, and leadership 3. They are skirmishers, which is a new rule. They also got regeneration of 6+. However, in the past they had one extra rule. Let me see which was. Trying to find it real quick. Recognized Bat Swarms. They had Cloud of Horror as a special rule, which was very nice. Which basically said an enemy unit in base contact with one or more Bat Swarms has the Always Strikes Last special rule. That is gone, which is quite sad, but honestly, Cloud of Horror was a very strong rule, so I understand why you removed it. Still, it's unfortunate, definitely. Also because they are, I think, more are they more pricey than in 8th edition? Bat Swarms, yeah, they're even more pricey than in 8th edition, which is quite unfortunate. But alright, so be it. Vargeist, 61 points. Quite a point increase since in 8th edition they were 46 points. You have to take them in units of 3+, that's the same. They have movement 6, but they can fly for 9, instead of fly of 10. Weapon skill 4, strength 5, toughness 4, 3 wounds, initiative 4, 3 attacks, and leadership 7. That's all the same. They got Wicked Claws, so strength of the user, AP -2, which is very nice. They got Armor Bane 2, so yeah, on 6 is the wound you have an AP of -4. That's very, very high. Dark Vitality, as they had in the past. Vampiric, Flammable, that's new, they were not flammable in the past. Fly, Frenzy, that's the same. Indomitable, Necromantic Undead, regeneration of 6+, and they are skirmishers, which makes it very nice to take them. Makes them very flexible, since skirmishers can charge basically any side they wish to do so. So definitely nice. A bit of a points increase, but I still think I would take them quite often. Yeah, definitely a nice unit. A unit that I like very much. Felbats for 15 points. Felbats, there they are. In 8th edition they were 16 points. Fly 10, so that's the same. Weapon skill 3, strength 3, toughness 3, 2 wounds apiece, initiative 3, 2 attacks, and 3 leadership. That's also the same as in 8th edition. Got Necromantic Undead, regeneration 6+, skirmishers, and swift stride. In 8th edition they were not skirmishers, and they also definitely did not have swift stride, so that's a nice addition. Spirit Hosts of 49 points. Spirit Hosts, Just quickly check. Spiritus. Ah, there they are. 45 points in 8th edition, so 4 points more in Old World. Movement 6, weapon skill 3, strength 3, toughness 3, 4 wounds per model, initiative 4, 4 attacks, and leadership 4. That's all the same as in 8th edition. They got Bound Spirits, which means that unlike other swarms, this unit is not subject to the Undisciplined rule. In other words, this unit can use the Inspiring Presence rule of the Army General and hold your ground rule of a battle standard, since normally swarms are not allowed to use the Inspiring Presence special rule or the hold your ground special rule, which is definitely nice. Yeah, for sure. They're still ethereal, which they were also in 8th edition. They got magical attacks, that's new. They did not have magical attacks in 8th edition. Necromantic Undead, Open Order, regeneration of 6+, and they also have reserve move, which makes them a little bit more movable on the battlefield. Definitely nice. However, you have to take them in sizes, in a unit size of 3 to 6. In 8th edition, you could take them in a unit size of 1 to 10, so you could also just take 1. And with 49 points for 1, they quickly become quite pricey. How much is that? 147 for the minimum. Yeah, it's kind of pricey, but still pretty decent. Ethereal, they can definitely annoy units with being ethereal. Yeah, still interesting, I would say. Blood Knights, probably my favorite unit of the whole army list. Also, honestly, the models are gorgeous. You can just take the Age of Sigmar models, like as I did here, just quickly showing, and you can use those for Old World. Definitely gorgeous models. I not often advertise for GW, but definitely one of my favorite models of the whole game. Anyway, sorry. So 39 points. In 8th edition, they were 50 points per model. Weapon skill 5, ballistic skill doesn't really matter. Strength of 4, toughness 4, 1 wound, 1 initiative 4, 2 attacks, leadership 7. So what's the difference? In 8th edition, they had strength 5, so unfortunately a little bit of a strength drop. And they also had initiative 5, so also here a little bit of an initiative drop. That is unfortunate. However, they are also cheaper, because 50 points in 8th edition was very pricey. And let's see, so they have hand weapons, lances, heavy armor, and shields. The Nightmare has Iron Shot hooves and barding, so they have a 3+ armor save of their own, which is very good. And for 5 points per model, you can give them full plate armor, and then they got a 2+ armor save, which is very nice. For 21 points in total, you have full command, and the Castellan, so the champion, can take up Vampiric Powers up to a total of 25 points, and magic items up to a total of 25 points. I do think Blood Knights, even though their stats have dropped a little bit, are quite good in Old World, since the problem in the past was that AP was not a thing. So if you would get shot by like a cannon or something else with a high strength modifier, well, they were just going to die. But most things in Old World have around AP 1 or AP 2, and then you still got like a 4+ save, which is very nice. So I do think they are better in Old World than they were in 8th edition. So they got accursed weapons. So their hand weapons are magical, and they got an AP of -1. That is nice. They are close order. They got counter charge, which is very nice. If you get charged in the front, you can charge the charging unit back for D3+1. That's very nice. They got dark vitality. First charge, so the first charge of the game disrupts the enemy. That's also good. Flammable, that's new. Indomitable 1. Martial Pride, so every model in the unit of Blood Knights can issue and accept challenges. That's the same as they had in the past. They also had martial honor. They got regeneration of 6+, so that also gives them a little bit more of survivability. And swift stride, yeah, definitely a very, very nice unit to take. Black Knight for 24 points. In the past they were 21 points, so a little bit more pricey in Old World. What do you get? Weapon skill 3, strength 4, toughness 4, 1 wound, initiative 3, 1 attack, and leadership 6. That's all the same. Skeletal Steed is movement 7, in the past movement 8, so a little bit slower. You can give them lances and barding. That is nice. Barding in the past was 3 points. 2 points in Old World, so a little bit cheaper. You can take lances for 2 points, and 8th edition also 2 points. For 18 points you got full command. You may take a magical standard up to 50 points, that's the same as in Old World. And the Hell Knight may take magic items up to 25 points. He was not able to do that in 8th edition, so you got a little bit more flexibility here as well. Direwolves are 8 points a piece. That's the same as in 8th edition. They are movement 9, that's the same. Weapon skill 3, strength 3, toughness 3, weapon skill 1, initiative 3, 1 attack, and leadership 3. That's all the same. They got claws and fangs as hand weapons. You can upgrade one model to be a Doom Wolf. It was 6 points per unit. In 8th edition it was 10 points per unit. They got Necromantic Undead, open order, regeneration of 6+. Reserve move, that's nice, so also a little bit more. You can use them a little bit better on the battlefield. Slavering Charge, which when they have charged, they will get a +1 on their strength characteristics, which is the same as in Old World. That's definitely nice. And they got Vanguard, that's also the same as in 8th edition. Yeah. Still an interesting unit to take if you want to maybe go get some war machines, or maybe try to flank charge or rear charge something. And they're still nice to take, I would say. And they're still on the same base size, so that's good. Hex Raids for 31 points. 30 points in 8th edition. Movement 8, that's the same. Weapon skill 3, strength 3, toughness 3, initiative 2, 1 attack, and leadership 5. That's all the same as in 8th edition. You can take 1 Hellrave, so a champion for 6 points per unit. In the past it was 10 points per unit. They are ethereal, they got flaming attacks, they can fly, they have magical attacks, necromantic undead, open order regeneration, spectral repulse, swift stride, and terror. In the past it was called spectral hunters, but I believe it's probably the same. So a unit with this special rule may perform a spectral repulse attack against a single enemy unit. To do so, the unit must move by flying over the unit in which it's to attack. Once this unit's movement is complete, the enemy unit suffers a single strength 4 hit with no armor saves permitted, but you can take water and regeneration saves. And with the flame attack special for each model in this unit that has moved over. Let's see, that is the same. However, in 8th edition it was not a strength 4 hit, it was a strength 5 hit. And it counts as shooting attacks. No, it doesn't count as shooting attacks in Old World. They are also magical and flaming. No armor saves allowed, so that's the same. Yeah. Basically kind of the same as in 8th edition. Alright, the Coven Throne for 210 points extra. 210 points. Let's see. In 8th edition, it would cost you 230 points to take the Coven Throne. So, wait a minute. Did I see that correctly? Because I was looking at mount options instead of the Coven Throne itself. Fall Guys, Felbats, Woven Throne, Woven Throne. Ah! Wait a minute. Okay, oh, that's interesting. So, yes, in the 8th edition it was not even possible to take the Coven Throne, like, separately. Like, not as a mount option, but apparently you... No, wait. No, I'm mistaken. It says here plus 210 points, so it's still only a mount option. So the Coven Throne. The Coven Throne, movement 6 instead of movement 8 in 8th edition. Weapon skill 5 of the Handmaidens, burst skill 3, strength 5, that's the same. Initiative 5 is the same, 2 attacks per piece, and leadership 7, toughness 5, 5 wounds. That's also the same. Because it's a heavy chariot, the Spirit Horde has hand weapons and lances. They only had hand weapons in the past, so lances is a new addition. Close Order Dark Vitality first charge, that's interesting, that's new. Ghoulish Glamour. So what's Ghoulish Glamour? Enemy units must make a leadership test before making any rolls to hit against this model during the combat phase. Test is failed, only rolls of natural 6 will hit. In the past, in 8th edition, they had a rule called Battle of Wills, which was a little bit more complex, if I could say it like that, than Ghoulish Glamour. Basically, what it said is that both players had to make a leadership test. Wait, let me see. The opponent must roll a d6 and add to its unit's leadership. Next, roll a d6 and add to the Coven Throne's leadership. Oh yeah, and so the difference in between that would change things. So for example, if you would win by 1 or 2, the enemy is at -1 weapon skill and -1 ballistic skill. If you would win on 3 to 5, the enemy must reroll successful to hit rolls. And on the 6+, that was very funny, they would start hitting each other. But that's gone. So basically, you just have Ghoulish Glamour. They have to make leadership test, and if they fail, only rolls of natural 6 will hit, which is still a very good rule, I would say. And they got a Scrying Pool, which is a bound spell with a power level of 2 till you till your next start of turn phase. Sorry, this model may reroll any rolls to hit of a natural 1. They also had the Scrying Pool in 8th edition, but I believe it's at something different. Let me just quickly look it up again. There we go. So Scrying Pool was a bound spell of level 3, so a little bit lower. Cast successfully, control all of its consistent parts, including screw. Rerolls fail to hit or to wound rolls, owning player's choice for the remainder of the turn. So a little bit better in the past, but that's quite good in 8th edition, so I understand why they nerfed it a little bit. A Coven Throne may only be included in your army as a Cattle's mount. Oh yeah, so its points are added to that of its rider. So just as in 8th edition, you could not take it separately, it's only as a mount. Yeah. Alright. So then we got the Mortis engine, which is also a mount option. The Mortis engine... wait a minute. Ah, yes. Okay, so the Mortis engine, however, in 8th edition, you could take it separately. That's why I was mistaken with the Coven Throne, because I thought you could also take it separately. The Coven Throne, the Mortis engine in 8th edition is 220 points and 195 points in Old World. Stats wise, let's see. So the Spirit Horde is a little bit slower with movement 6, movement 8 in 8th edition. The Mortis engine itself has strength 5, toughness 5 and 5 wounds. That's the same as in 8th edition. And a leadership of 5, that also. It has a little bit of a better armor value, 4+ in 8th edition, 5+. hand weapons and lances. The lances are also a new addition. Occurs reliquary. What is that? Whilst within this mortal command range, friendly units with the necromantic undead special will gain a +1 modifier to their movement and initiative characteristics. In 8th edition, it had the reliquary, which is a little bit different, which meant that you had to roll 2d6 and you would add the current turn number, and then all enemy units within range of the dark arrow immediately take d6 hits with a strength equal to the current turn number. Yeah, so, and then the units around you, so your units around you, friendly units, would improve their regeneration save by 1 point to a maximum of 4+. So, well, completely different. They completely changed this rule. But +1 modifier to movement and initiative is pretty decent. I do think in 8th edition it was better, having 1 extra point of regeneration, but I can imagine then it would start to become a little bit too strong. Then your basic skeletons would have a regeneration of 5+. I can imagine it being too strong. So impact hits of d6 +1, that's the same. Large target, necromantic undead, random attacks, regeneration 6+, and wailing dirge. In the past they also had the ghostly howl attack, so that's also the same. So blasphemous tome, normally those were all upgrades, so it would become even pricier. However, here it seems to be for free. All vessels may apply a +1 modifier to any casting rolls whilst within this mortal command range. However, if any wizard miscast whilst within this mortal command range, they must roll twice on the miscast table and apply both results. Okay. In the past, you would get a +2 to the casting result when a wizard would cast from the Lore of Vampire, so it would basically only be for you. However, if you would miscast, you would have to roll twice on the miscast table and your opponent chooses the result. So, yeah, what to say? I think Blasphemous Tome in the past was better, but like a higher risk and a higher reward situation than it is in Old World. It's still nice in Old World since you get it for free, so pretty alright. Yeah, and so the difference being that in Old World you can only take it as a character's mount option. Yeah. Alright, so then we got the corpse card for 115 points. The corpse card you can take separately, just as the same as in 8th edition, for 115 points. In 8th edition it was 90 points, so a little bit more pricey. Strength for toughness for weapon wounds 4, that's the same. Weapon skill tree is also the same. 2d6 random attacks, that's also the same. Interestingly, the Corpse Master is a level 1 wizard, so that's nice. That was definitely not the case in 8th edition. You can give the Corpse Master a whip or a cavalry spear, and he must take one of the following instead of may take one of the following: the Balefire Brazier or the Warped Tintinabulation. What a difficult word. So the Balefire Brazier, enemy wizards that are within 15 inch of one or more borders with a special rule when attempting to cast a spell must increase that spell casting value by 1. In the past that was called also Balefire, yeah, for 15 points, so a little bit cheaper in Old World, so that's nice. And I think it set exactly the same. Let's see. Oh, but the range is higher in Old World, so instead of 15 inch of enemy wizards, it was 24 in 8th edition. For the rest it's the same, but still decent. This thing, I'm not going to try to pronounce that again. When a friendly unit that's within 15 inch of this model recalls a number of lost wounds due to the character using Invocation of Nahak, roll a d6 on a roll of 4+, you would recover 1 additional wound. That's nice. In addition, friendly units within 15 inches of this model reduce the number of wounds lost to the unstable rule by 1. Definitely nice. In the past, in 8th edition, if you would cast the spell Invocation of Nag, so in the past it was like a spell, you may reroll a single d6 to determine how many wounds are restored for each eligible infantry unit. So about the same, still interesting. You will get some extra wounds back, and this is cumulative with the Indomitable special rule. So I do think this is a very good upgrade for the corpse card. The Black Coach for 205 points. Quite pricey. I have the feeling it's more pricey than in 8th edition. Yeah, so in 8th edition it was 195 points, so 10 points more expensive in Old World. Strength 5, toughness 6 for wounds, that's the same. Movement 8, web skill 3 of the Nightmares, strength 4 of the Nightmares, and initiative 2, so stats wise it's the same. Except that the Wraith has 1 attack less than in 8th edition. The Wraith has a Spectral Scythe, that's nice. And the Nightmares have Iron Shot Hooves. Has close order first charge, impact hits do d6 plus 2 instead of d6 plus 1. With Indomitable 1, magical attacks, necromantic undead, regeneration of 6, and spectral coach and terror. Interesting to note, however, is that in 8th edition it had a ward save of 4+. It seems to be completely gone. That is unfortunate. Spectral coach is something new, so it's not wholly corporeal. You may become incorporeal during the command subphase of this turn, and while it is incorporeal until your next start of turn subphase. Whilst incorporeal, it loses the impact hits, but it does gain ethereal and fly. Unfortunately, I think that in 8th edition it was a bit better, because it already had... Wait, no, it actually didn't. It couldn't fly. My mistake. And it couldn't become ethereal as well. However, it did have a 3+ armor save. Oh, it does the same. In Old World, that's the same. That's nice. But, well, it doesn't have the 4+ war save anymore, so that's unfortunate. And in 8th edition, you had something called Evocation of Death, which was like basically a table with 6 different effects that would benefit the Black Coach. So every turn it would become stronger. For example, you would get +1 to the number of impact hits. On level 2 you would get the gain Wraith and Nightmares have +1 strength, etc. So that seems to be completely gone, which is unfortunate, because for 205 it's hard to say. I haven't tried it on the battlefield yet, but it does seem a bit expensive, to be honest. The Zombie Dragon for 215 points extra. You will get 1 extra toughness on your Lord and 5 extra wounds. That's something completely new for Old World, so that's nice. You can make your Vampire Lord very tanky. It is on a big base, 100 times 150, and let's just go over the stats. So movement of 6, weapon skill 4, strength 6, toughness 6 for your Lord. The Lord has, I think, 5 wounds. No, that's not true. How much does a Lord have? So 3 wounds of the vampire count plus 5 of the zombie dragon would give you 8 wounds in total, which is very nice. There's a lot of wounds. Initiative 4. No, my mistake. Initiative 2 and 5 attacks. That's also the same. 215 points. Trying to find if that's the same. The Zombie Dragon in 8th edition was 245 points, so 30 points point drop. That's very nice. That's Wicked Claws. It has a breath attack, dragonic scales, counts as full plate armor, so you can make your vampire count very tanky. It has carrion feeders, which means that enemy units engaged in combat will suffer -1 modifier to the initiative characteristics. I think it's about the same. In 8th edition, it had a rule called Swarm of Flies. Swarm of Flies. Yeah. Oh no, it's not the same. Excuse me. Enemy in base contact with a zombie dragon deduct 1 from their rolls to hit in close combat. Oh yeah, that would be too strong, I think, in Old World. That would be too strong. It has wicked claws, so strength 6 of the zombie dragon with AP -2. And has a nice breath attack of only strength 2, but AP of -3, so that's very high. Definitely nice. It's large target, it got D6 stomp attacks, that's nice. It has Swift Stride, which is very nice, and causes terror. A very nice upgrade, a very nice mount option for your lord, I would say. The terror guys, the only mount option for the Ghoul King has Filth Encrusted Talons. Strength of 5, AP -1. Strength of 5 is the same, toughness 6 is the same, 6 wounds is also the same. And let's see, some attacks of D6, yep, that's the same. Regeneration of 5+. In 8th edition, only in regeneration of 6+. So that's nice. It has a calloused hide, counts as light armor. Alright, I guess. It also has a waning dirge. In 8th edition, it had a death shriek, which was basically a wailing dirge on steroids, because it did 2d6 plus 4 instead of 2d6 plus 2d of a leadership test of -2. You would get a -4, but okay, that doesn't exist anymore in Old World. Still, wailing dirge, still a good attack to have. Swift Stride and terror, and it also has a rancid maw, so you must make one of its attacks with the maw, which is AP -2, armor bane of 1, and multiple wounds of 2. For 185 points, instead of taking it separately, you can also take it as a mount option. So for your Ghoul King, for example. But if I would choose between the Terrorgeist or the Zombie Dragon, I would probably go for the Zombie Dragon. Even though the Terrorgeist is a fantastic piece of model, I really love the sculpt, very nice. The Abyssal Terror is also a mount option you can take for a Vampire, for example. It has a weapon skill of... Wait, so it costs 120 points. And in the past, it would cost... Let's see, Abyssal Terror. Also 120 points, so that's the same. A movement of 6, weapon skill of 4, strength 5, toughness +1, plus 4 wounds, initiative 1, and 3 attacks. That's the same, except in the past it would only have a toughness of 5 standard. It has wicked claws, so strength of the model, AP -2, and it has a poisonous tail, so you must make one of the attacks with the tail, which has strike first, so that can be interesting. It has a scaly skin, which counts as heavy armor. That's nice. It can fly. Has a couple of stomp attacks, Swift Stride, and terror. So basically, it's, I would say, in between a nightmare and a zombie dragon. An interesting choice if you're playing a small game, like 1000 points or something. Otherwise, I would suggest take a zombie dragon for about 80 points more. So the Vargulf is 140 points. Also a cool model in my opinion. Also a nice sculpt. 140 points in Old World, 175 points in 8th edition. Movement 8, weapon skill 5, strength 5, toughness 5, 4 wounds, initiative 4. 5 attacks in 8th edition, only 4 attacks in Old World. It has Bestial Fury, Close Order, Countercharge. That is nice. That's new. Dark Vitality, Flammable, Frenzy, Indomitable 1. It has a regeneration of 5+, Swift Stride, and Terror. In the past, in 8th edition, you would have a regeneration of 4+, so that's a little bit of a nerf. It did not have Frenzy in 8th edition. It had Hatred, so they changed that. I don't understand why, but okay, so be it. Bestial Fury is the same, which means that you cannot claim any combat bonus result points for being engaged with this model's flank or rear arc, so that's nice. The Wicked Claws are strength of 5 and AP's -2. I do think it's a bit of a shame that they worsened the regeneration save, because yeah, 5+ and 4+, I think it's quite the difference. Frenzy is nice because you have 1 extra attack, but in the past it had Hatred and already 5 attacks on its own. So with Frenzy, the things you have to charge if you can charge, unless you try to Restrained. So yeah, in my honest opinion, the Varghulf was better in the past than it is now. So the Vampiric Powers. Something that immediately will catch your eye is that Red Fury and Quick Blood are both gone. So that means the Vampire Blender option is kind of not viable anymore. So with Red Fury you would get 1 extra attack for every unsaved wound you would deal, and with Quick Blood you would have Always Strike First. So that's also gone. Instead we got Curse of the Revenant. For 50 points you have 1 extra modifier to the wounds characteristics. That is you also have that one in 8th edition, but for 55 points. Beguile for 40 points. Let's see, in 8th edition it was 15 points, but I think it does something different. Yeah, so enemy units must make a leadership test before making any rolls to hit against the vampire during the combat phase. If this test is failed, only rolls of natural 6 will hit. In 8th edition you could only select 1 model in base contact with the vampire, and that one would have to take a leadership test with a -3 modifier. If the test is failed, the model must reroll successful to hit rolls that phase. So it became a bit different, since instead of 1 model you can choose the whole unit. So there are pros and cons here. Flying Horror, for 35 points you can give your vampire fly. Let's see, Flying Horror for 30 points in 8th edition, and you could also give him fly. So 5 points more in Old World. Dark Acolyte, he will get the Invocation of Nahek special rule, and it will count as a level 1 wizard. Dark Acolyte in 8th edition was 25 points, and you would add a d3 to the casting total whenever you would successfully cast Invocation of Nahek. So a little bit different, but I do think in Old World a bit better, since you will get that special rule, which is very nice. Master of the Black Arts for 30 points. Master of the Black Arts in Old World says that if you are a level 2 wizard, you will increase your level by 1, while in 8th edition it was 75 points, but the difference is that you would reroll 1 of the dice when determining the strength of the winds of magic. That whole thing, magic phase, has completely changed in Old World, so it's understandable that they had to change this rule as well. You can potentially make a level 3 vampire wizard. That's interesting. Not sure how often you would do that, because then your vampire will become very pricey very quickly. On Supernatural Horror for 20 points, you will get Terror. It's the same in 8th edition, except it costs 25 points. Lord of the Night for 15 points during the command subphase of their turn. This vampire may attempt to resurrect fallen creatures of the night by making leadership test. If this test passes, a single friendly unit of fell bats, bat swarms, or dire wolves that's within 12 inches of this model recovers d6 lost wounds. Alright. It's about... well, no, not really. In 8th edition, you had summon creatures of the night. This vampire can use the invocation of the hex spell to increase units of dire wolves, bat swarms, and fell bats beyond their starting size. I believe this one is better, since... yeah, it's definitely better, since you don't have to be a wizard to use this vampiric power. In 8th edition, you had to. But okay, so important to note is that you can't really make a vampire blender lord anymore, which is unfortunate, but on the other hand, it means that we don't have to focus too much on the vampire itself, and that other units in the codex also have a chance to shine. It is unfortunate though. It's a little bit unfortunate, but then again, everything in Old World has become less killy, less destructive, so it was to be expected, I would say. Alright, so then we go to the magic items. The first one is the Frostblade. Something new. So what does it do? An enemy model that suffers one or more unsafe wounds from the Frostblade must immediately make a toughness test. If this test fails to gain the strike last special rule and must reduce the initiative characteristics to 1 for the remainder of the game. That's funny, but for 60 points I'm not sure if that's worth it. It does have Killing Blow though. In 8th edition you had a weapon called Scrath or something for 75 points, which would give you Devastating Charge and Frenzy, and also Flame Attacks. You would get Death Shriek, so the Wailing Dirge special attack. And however, if you did not kill any model in close combat at the end of the game, you would be removed as a casualty. It's completely different. Yeah, there's no weapon that closely resembles this weapon in Old World. Sword of Kings. Also a new weapon. There's no equivalent in 8th edition. So what does it do? So you get 1 extra strength, an AP of -1, Killing Blow and magical attacks. If you would roll a strike a Killing Blow, you would also get it on a natural 5 or 6. That is very interesting. For 55 points, I'm not really sure if it's worth it, as a lot of points, and a Vampire Lord only has 4 attacks. If Red Fury and Quick Blood were still a thing, then this thing would be crazy, I believe. Blood Drinker, also a new weapon. Strength of the user, AP -1, magical attacks. And you would recover a single lost wound per combat phase. For 45 points, recovering a single lost wound. Not sure if that's worth it. The Dreadlance for 40 points. This is an interesting weapon, also a new one. So strength +2, AP -2, armor bane of 1, and magical. You can only use it when you have charged. That makes sense, since it's a lance. In subsequent turns you have to use your hand weapon. Okay. However, the wield of the Dreadlance may reroll any failed rolls to hit made whilst using it. For 40 points, it's a pretty good weapon, I think. AP -2 is nice, strength +2, so the vampire will have a very high strength, like strength 7, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And armor bane 1 is also sweet. Magic armor. There are also a couple of new armors here. The Flayed Hauberk is something new. It's a suit of heavy armor, and even wizards can wear it. You also got a 6+ ward save for 35 points. Not bad. The Accursed armor for 30 points is only for infantry or cavalry. You will get +1 to your toughness characteristics, but you suffer -1 to your weapon skill and initiative characteristics. So if you want to make your lord a bit more tanky while sacrificing some killing power, then this is the thing to go. It could be nice though, but because if you put your Vampire Lord on a Zombie Dragon, with this you would have toughness 7. That's high. That's very nice. Talismans. The von Karnstein ring was normally only a magical item that Vlad von Karnstein had in 8th edition. So what does it do? For single use for 40 points, when you lose your last wound on a roll of d6, that wound is not lost. So you get one extra wound, one good possible saving wound for 40 points. Crown of the Damned gives you a 4+ war save for 35 points. However, you also aren't stupid. If you would still have leadership 10, like we did in 8th edition, then it would be interesting. But with leadership 8 and stupid, it's a bit of a risk, I feel. Magic banners. Banner of the Banner of the Barrows. That one you also had in 8th edition. In 8th edition was 50 points, here it is 65. It's only for a White Lord battle standard bearer. If you roll to hit, a roll of 3+ is always a success, regardless of the target weapon skill. So for the whole unit. In 8th edition it was for Grey Guard, Black Knights and White Kings. You would get a +1 to hit in close combat, which was actually better, since if the enemy would fail the leadership test, they would have weapon skill 1, so you would be hitting them on 2s. But still decent, I would say. However, it's quite pricey. Drakenhof banner is a new one. The unit carrying the Drakenhof banner has a regeneration of +X, so you would improve your regeneration by 1. That's nice. For 50 points, that's still okay, I would say. The Screaming banner. This one is also in 8th edition for 25 points, 45 in the Old World. When an enemy unit makes a leadership test due to fear caused by a unit carrying the Screaming banner, you must roll an extra d6 and discard the lowest result. So in 8th edition, if you would take a fear test, it's actually the same. Basically you would discard the lowest result, but in 8th edition was 25 points, so there's quite a lot of points more, but still a good banner to take, I would say. Standard of Hellish Figure is a new one, will give the unit a reserve move special. That's a really good one, I think. Definitely if you put your vampire in a unit of skeletons or a unit of graveguard, then they are a little bit, you can maneuver them better on the battlefield, I think. So those were the magic items. Sorry, I completely forgot the enchanted items and arcane items. So a Helm of Commandment for 40 points, only for a Necromancer or White King. There's no equivalent in 8th edition. During the command phase of the turn, the scatter may attempt to enhance the sentience of those around them by making a leadership test. You would get a +3 modified to the weapon skill to a maximum of 10. It's pretty nice. Hand of Dust is only for Necromancers. It's interesting, for only 35 points. It's a bounce spell with a power level of 2, roll a d6. But you have to roll a d6 every time, and a roll of 1, well, the hand is kaput. So it's an assailment spell on a casting value of 9+. 2d6 strength 5 hits, each with an AP of 1. That's pretty good, I would say. For 35 points only, is pretty good. Cloaks of Mist and Shadow will give your Necromancer some extra evasion. It will give the Necromancer the Ethereal special rule. Also a good item to consider. The Skull Staff for 50 points increases the dispel range by 3 inch, and when attempting a wizardly dispel may apply a +1 modified to the dispel roll. However, you must note that it does not negate a roll of natural double 1, and then you will miscast. Scepter of the Noiro is also something new. The bearer of the Scepter of Noiro may attempt to resurrect the fallen by using the invocation of Nahek special twice, so instead of 1. That's nice. However, every time you use it on a roll of 1, you lose a single wound, so a bit risky. Spell Familiar is pretty good. I think for only 15 points, you know 1 spell more. So I think that's pretty good for only 15 points. That's definitely a good what's it called, arcane item that you can take multiple times. Alright, so those are the special rules. Yeah, so for resurrecting the fallen, first characters are healed, then models with more than 1 wound, then the unit champion, and then finally rank and file models. That's basically the same as in 8th edition. So we got here the Lore of Undeath. We got 3 spells. Van Hell's Dance Macabre is an enchantment, sorry. Casting value of 8 or a casting value of 12. If you manage to cast it, you will get a D3 modifier, or 2 D3s if you got the 12+ on movement, weapon skill, and initiative. A very nice spell. Hellish Figure is also interesting. You can give one friendly unit the reserve move special rule. However, if you manage to overcast it, then you will get every unit that is within the commander's, the castle's command range gains the reserve move special. Very nice as well. However, many things already have the reserve move special rule, and you can also give one unit that banner of Hellish Figure. So I do think I would rather go for Van Hell's Dance Macabre. Raise Dead. You can place a unit of 2 D3 risen zombies on the battlefield, casting value of 10. It's alright, but you cannot declare a charge in the turn in which they are raised, and you only get 2 D3 zombies. It's not a lot, and well, the zombies are not that impressive. So my personal favorite of these 3 is the Dance Macabre. Alright, so that's the codex. So for now, quickly 1.5k list that I made. So I got a Master Necromancer for 190 points. He's a general with a level 4 wizard. I'm still not really sure which kind of magic I like the most. You can take dark magic, illusion magic, and necromancy. So I have to experiment a little bit with that. Cloak of Mist and Shadows for a little bit more evasion. Then just a Vampire Troll for 123 points. I made him the Battle Standard Bearer, and I gave him for 15 points the Biting Blade, which is gives strength of the user, but AP of -2, which is pretty good. He's not a wizard, but for some reason I had to select a lore. Then my core is 22 Graveguard. I gave them hand weapons and shield, heavy armor, the implacable defense so that you don't have to give ground if you don't want to. Standard of Hellish Figure so that they can keep up with the rest of the army. 15 Crypt Ghouls. And then for my special units I got 3 Vargeist. They got Dark Vitality so they can march. They can keep the flanks. That's very nice. Corpse Guard to help the Graveguard out a little bit, since I want them to be like the tar pit of the army. So I've got to tell that I would put the Master Necromancer and Vampire Troll with the Graveguard. Then you got a unit of 24 models. You can put them by 8 by 3, so 8, 16, 24. So the Corpse Guard will give them a little bit more sustainability. 5 Black Knights to put on a flank, 5 Blood Knights to put on a flank, and well, that's 1,498 points. So yeah, that's my view on vampire counts in Old World Almanac. If you got any ideas or opinions, please let me know in the comments below. And thank you for watching.